Hello everyone, welcome to the Voice of Love and Peace Volunteers. Today we are celebrating the month of love and peace. September is the International Month of Peace and Love. 20 years ago, back in 2001, the day after the 9/11 tragedy, at the invitation of Manhattan MNN Television, Tai Ji Men, a spiritual group dedicated in promoting peace and love, hosted the ceremony of ringing the bell of world peace and love to pray for world peace. The ceremony was broadcast across the U.S. for 4 hours, spreading peaceful energy to comfort people's hearts. Today, many people, including Tai Ji Men, still strive for peace and love and justice. Over the years, so many stories have happened to them. Later, we will invite them to share their stories and experience with us. And first, let's start with a video commemorating the 20th anniversary of 9/11 attacks with peace and love. Please play the video.
We would like to really start with revisiting the 9/11, an incident that really shook the world. And before we dive into the stories, we have a clip that takes us back to 2001.
Let us fill the hearts of world citizens with love and peace. September 12, 2001.
Years ago, Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy visited Washington, D.C. as ambassadors of peace and goodwill.
The Mayor of the District of Columbia does hereby proclaim March 22nd, 2000 as Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy Day in Washington, D.C., and we welcome these international ambassadors of peace and goodwill.
21 years later, members of Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy returned to Washington, D.C. to seek justice and raise international awareness of their situation. Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy is a spiritual group with various academies in Taiwan and the U.S. The group strongly believes that they are being persecuted in democratic Taiwan through a tax evasion indictment beginning in 1996 that reached Taiwan's Supreme Court.
As you can see in the video clip, we learned that Tai Ji Men promotes love and peace and was recognized by the U.S. government. But meanwhile, Tai Ji Men is also persecuted by national violence. The video only provided a brief summary. So next up, I would like to invite Rowena Lee, a retired teacher, to share more details and stories with us. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. I am a Tai Ji Men dizi, a retired teacher. For 26 years, I have witnessed my shifu, Dr. Hong Daozi, the Zangmenren of Tai Ji Men, is a compassionate and wise man, a merciful and patient teacher. He teaches us dizi day and night how to behave well, to realize our potential, and to do things that benefit the society or the world. Tai Ji Men dizi, both young and old, are very active and enterprising, supporting and encouraging one another to make progress every day. For me, a place like this is a paradise on earth, a happy big family, and a self-cultivation group. But why is the fourth tax bill 25 years ago delayed and still cannot be resolved? What is the real reason? The entire Taiwanese people suffered as a result of Ho Kuan Ren's mistakes. The National Taxation Bureau and the Administrative Enforcement Agency have become accomplices with the illegal prosecutor, Taxation Tai Ji Men dizi, and other Taiwanese lawyers, experts, and scholars to fight for the truth for the past 25 years. Although the NTB has corrected the tax sanctions related to the monetary gift in other years to zero, it has left alone the 1992 tax bill that was in violation of the law. It even collaborated with the AEA on August 21st, 2020, to forcibly auction Tai Ji Men's sacred land for self-cultivation. It made the entire Tai Ji Men dizi feel furious and gruesome. On July 13, 2007, the Supreme Court ruled that Tai Ji Men was not guilty of fraud, tax evasion, or violation of Tax Collection Act. This is equivalent to the imperial edict declaring the Tai Ji Men shifu and dizi innocent. The 1992 tax bill should be automatically invalid after the Supreme Court's third instance decision in 2007. How can officials be aware that they have broken the law but refuse to admit their errors? If this is the case, I'm curious how many more innocent people will be persecuted in the future. We realize the problem lies in the tax bonus. Birds die for food and people die for money, or the wages of avarice is death, is a well-known proverb. People usually hold the belief that not fighting with officials is a good idea, and that paying a little bit is always a good compromise. But my shifu brothers and sisters follow the principle of distinguishing true and false, being aware of good and evil, and knowing right from wrong. We will not pay any tax that should not be paid, nor will we pay any tax that should not be paid. We absolutely cannot do so because it would be humiliating to the succeeding Zhangmenrens. Furthermore, the Northern Area NTB still owes my shifu 30 million NT dollars, and the Central Area NTB owes my shifu over 3.36 million NT dollars. As a result, the NTB and AEA are completely unqualified to auction up Tai Ji Men's land. Tai Ji Men is the incarnation of human rights fighters. We will never give up unless we achieve our goals. Besides the support from scholars, experts, lawyers, accountants, religious experts, etc. in Taiwan, we have gotten more and more recognition from abroad. For example, Honorable Rene Wadero, President of the Association of World Citizens, has accompanied us for more than 20 years. When Professor Massimo Introvigni, an Italian sociologist of religions and the editor-in-chief of Bitter Winter, met Tai Ji Men in March 2019 19, he understood my shifu, Dr. Hong, was an extraordinary person at the moment and admired him very much. Then he invited Willy Fautre, a Belgian co-founder of Human Rights Without Frontiers, Marco Riscanti, an Italian journalist who serves as director in charge of Bitter Winter, etc., to join the human rights battle. Some of these distinguished somebodies worked together to write the Tai Ji Men white paper, and others organized a series of webinars with all their strengths to discuss the human rights issues and religious freedom issues about the Tai Ji Men case. Former advisor to U.S. President Bill Clinton, Kenneth Jacobson from Temple University School of Law, USA, studied the Tai Ji Men case in depth as early as in 2014. He mentioned he had never seen any more abusive case of the violation of law and due process than the Tai Ji Men case. Moreover, the co-chairs of International Religious Freedom Summit 2021, Sam Brownback and Katrina Lanter-Sweat, attached great importance to the Tai Ji Men case. Before the end of my sharing, I'd like to quote some valuable words from Willy Fautre. It is a battle for the well-being of all the Taiwanese, for Taiwanese society, and for the image of Taiwan on the international scene. In the fire of oppression, they have shown a deadlocked faith in their values, and they have passed the torch to the next generation. In short, I want to tell these corrupt officials who have persecuted Tai Ji Men shifu and dizi for 25 years. After all bad things are done, there will be a natural judgment, and the time has come. We urge these illegal officials to awake their conscience as soon as possible, vindicate the false case, and return the sacred land to Tai Ji Men. That's all for my sharing. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Rowena, for clearly introducing Tai Ji Men and the wrongful Tai Ji Men case to us. Tai Ji Men is a spiritual group, and there are members from all ages, and they all have learned a lot through the process of promoting love and peace. So next up, I would like to invite Irene Tong to share her story. She's a student major in German language and culture. Welcome.
Hello everyone, I'm Irene, and I'm a fifth grade student in junior college. When I was small, my mom and dad took me to Tai Ji Men practice Qigong. Here I learned how to teach myself and how to change my temper. And I often watch my father go to various parts of the world for cultural exchanges. So I always think that one day I will have the opportunity to go abroad to do these manifold things. And it was a great honor to be in my third year of junior college, which is the year that's before the outbreak of the pandemic. I could overcome my academic difficulties and follow my shifu, Dr. Hong Daozi, to India to participate in the 20th International Conferences of Chief Justice of the World, and to have cultural exchanges with local students at the Montessori School in India. At the beginning, I was confused that there are so many people in India. How many people can I affect by doing this? But when I really contented and communicated with them, I found that, in fact, we did this is to leave the seed of love and peace in the hearts of those students, teachers, and even the justice, and guide them to awake their conscience. In the future, they can influence more people, even the future of their culture. Sometimes, a sincere eye contact and a heartfelt smile, this make me feel that we can make the world become a better place. In recent years, our shifu has led us through 101 countries to promote love and peace and cultural exchanges. Get the highly recognized international because they understand the significance and importance of Tai Ji Men culture. But in Taiwan, the administrative persecuted us for human rights, make us need to stand on the street to protect our homeland. However, we still cannot be rehabilitated for 25 years. The convictions afraid by the Supreme Court that Tai Ji Men was not guilty in tax evasion, and the Superior Administrative Court also ruled that Tai Ji Men is not the crime school. But they didn't stop. They even with administrative enforcement, but they didn't stop. They even with administrative enforcement agencies nationalized that the illegal auction of Miaoli land expected to the building build the Daochang. But they didn't stop. They even with administrative enforcement agencies nationalized that the illegal auctions of Miaoli land expected to build the Daochang in last year. The insistence has attracted great attention from experts and scholars at home and abroad, and it has also been reported and highly discussed in many international media. In this year's International Religious Freedom Summit, the representatives from all walks of life also discussed this case deeply. This incident is the measure of justice and tax law. Let the dark side of the tax law stand out in front of the world. And according to the statistical data of the Administrative Enforcement Agency over the year, the number of new enforcement cases for tax errors and fees has increased significantly each year, from 1.9 million in 2001 to 50.31 million in 2020. It has increased by 7.53 times in the past 90 years. Is that mean the Taiwan people are thieves and like to own money? Or how many of these cases are unjust, wrong, and false? And how many families have been destroyed and killed for this? Therefore, we stand out not only protect our homeland, but also hope that officials can bravely face their mistakes and want Taiwan to become more and more better. The world will become more peaceful if everyone has a conscience. If everyone has love, every family will be happy. Conscience, in my opinion, is not difficult to implant. A single thought can sometimes change everything. This month is International Peace and Love Month. Even if we live in different places, as long as we band together and use love as our start point, we can make the world become better. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Irene. Indeed, conscience plays an essential role to a peaceful world where everyone can live happily without any sorrow. And the achievement of that wonderland relies on everyone exerting their conscience. So next up, we're gonna invite Fred Lee. He's a firefighter whose job is rescuing others. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Good evening to everyone. This is Fred, and I'm delighted to be among the guests here. Today, I would like to talk about to share our caring for the taxation in Taiwan. As what Mr. Chairperson has said just now, I worked as a firefighter in the expert possessing zone in Kaohsiung. And besides, I am pursuing a master's degree in law at National Kaohsiung University. Speaking of firemen, taking risks to rescue lives after disasters would come across people's minds. And today, I'm going to talk about rescuing human rights of taxpayers in Taiwan. For years, I've been following the Fight for Fair Tax League in Taiwan. I realized that tax environment in Taiwan is a complete disaster. The disaster caused by either institutional effects or egregious human error lead to fabricated tax cases happening in Taiwan needed to be concerned. According to the experts, the well-known Tai Ji Men tax case was the Taiwanese White Terror, the 228 incident. This case was also featured in the Control Yuan's third consolidated report on human rights protection as a key human rights protection case. Unfortunately, this ongoing matter has gone unresolved for the past 25 years. My family and I joined Tai Ji Men for 8 years. I learned and grew a lot. My shifu, Dr. Hong, 掌门人 of Tai Ji Men, instructs us on how to apply wisdom in our daily lives. The apathetic relationship between me and my father have been changed. Now I'm a part of a happy family. Shifu also taught me to rescue a people, we have to rescue his heart. As a result, I share my love with the patients I encounter while running the ambulance. And I'll do my best to encourage them to think positively and look at the bright side of life. Then I found that I have grasped the meaning and spirit of my job. For decades, Shifu has led his disciples, spending our own resources and holidays, devoting to promote the idea of love and peace and conscience worldwide, and hosting the ceremony of ringing the bell of peace and love of the world. Till today, there are 399 bell ringers from 122 nations, including 43 nation presidents and 7 Nobel Prize winners. I went abroad as an international volunteer with my shifu for a couple of times. I comprehended that what shifu led us to do is of profound meanings, which inspired me and changed me a lot. Such a nice Qigong martial art organization was miraculously accused with forged evidence by the prosecutor and NTB officers. Later on, criminal court has acquitted Tai Ji Men, including that there was no tax evasion, no criminal activities. With this conclusion in 2007, NTB should have withdrawn the unlawful taxation. Nonetheless, investigation carried out by the Control Yuan has indicated that there were 8 major offenses conducted by the prosecutor and 7 major legal conducts by NTB in Tai Ji Men tax case. However, NTB kept imposing taxes illegally based on the erroneous information in the indictment. During the 25 years, suffering from false accusations and vicious calumny by the prosecutor. Extensive coverage of untrue media reports, a few unrepentant taxation and enforcement officials, as well as a few factious administrative court judges, and people's peculiar look. Tai Ji Men has sought every legal remedies, yet this unjust case did not get redressed until today. Obviously, this is a disaster and tragedy for the victim. In my opinion, we lost righteous of this nation, while dignities and human rights were trampled to the ground. I would like to mention another case. There is a Miss Wu in Taichung. She used to be a tutoring class teacher. The boss wanted to close the tutoring center, and she refused to give up on the students. So she decided to buy the tutoring center, but in the end failed. Guess what? NTB levied the 1.6 million tax owed by the owner in charge of the tutoring center. Even though the administrative court had revoked both the appeal decision and the review decision, the NTB still issued tax bills again. For more than 20 years, Ms. Wu, who could not afford it, committed suicide and was depressed. In the end, even the money for her chemotherapy was enforced because of this unjust tax bill. The tax problem has existed in Taiwan for a long time. Countless victims of tax tragedy have been diagnosed with depression, cancer, and some have even committed suicide. As a result, Taiwan's entire tax environment requires attention and help in order for Taiwanese citizens to be free of dread and tax risks, and for Taiwan to become a country where taxation and human rights may coexist together. Kenneth Jacobson, a professor of law at Temple University, Philadelphia, the U.S., and former advisor to U.S. President Bill Clinton. He said that he had studied Tai Ji Men case for many years and had never seen more abuse of power than he had seen in the Tai Ji Men tax case. And when government officials abuse power, it affects not only the victims of that abuse, but it affects all of us, because that means that the rule of law is not being followed, and that falls on all of us, whether the direct targets of that abuse or not. He mentioned that the Control Yuan is charged with the responsibility for investigating raw government officials. It found human rights violations and nothing happens. He called upon the president and the leaders of Taiwan to fix the mistakes of the past. To allow errors to continue, to perpetuate mistakes that were made in the past is as bad, if not worse, than committing those mistakes in the first point. He said that this is a travesty and tragedy. And recently, there is a TV series in Taiwan, Tears of Fire, and it's quite popular. In the series, you can see firefighters taking risks and saving lives. The scenes are realistic. When I was performing ambulance duties, the feeling of seeing the sick made me want to contact and rescue the injured patients as soon as possible. So there was once I jumped down the 6-meter high drainage ditch. Under the guidance of shifu, I am willing to listen to the difficulties encountered by the patients and help them change their mind. After carrying out emergency aids time after time, I have a different experience of the dignity of human nature and the value of life. Looking at the many disasters that have occurred in Taiwan due to unfair systems in the spirit of disaster relief, as a fireman who is a rescuer cannot save the disasters caused by unfair systems, that is a pain for unable to help. I call on the government to value and implement humanitarianism as well as love and peace. Perhaps because of my work, I can deeply understand the spirit of love and peace. When a person is in serious illness, we can treat it as a disaster. And we share our love, give a hand to that person, trying to cure him. I love my country, despite that there are quite a few disadvantages, such as the unjust tax environment. I hope to speak out for chances of more attentions on the 6 systems. I believe when taxation continues to be widely discussed and when we started to rescue those fraud tax cases, there will be more mutual assistance and care, and thus make taxpayers safe, happy, with dignity and human rights. Thank you all for your attention.
Thank you, Fred. As Fred mentioned earlier, it is love that we are willing to help others, and it is love that we are trying our best to help our country by establishing rule of law in our tax system. It was a remarkable forum, and now I would like to invite our panelists and our audience to take a group photo together. Let's take the photo with the gesture called conscience gesture. It's very easy. Right hand as a fist, it symbolizes our conscience, and our left hand carefully cover on your right hand. It symbolizes carefully protect your conscience, and we put the gesture at your chest. And when I say one, two, three, everybody goes conscience. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So one, two, three.
Conscience.
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 Okay. Let's do it again. One, two, three.
Conscience.
Conscience. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, everybody. September is the International Month of Peace and Love. So through the forum today, we know that the day after the 9/11 tragedy, Tai Ji Men hosted the ceremony of ringing the bell of world peace and love to pray for world peace and may the souls of the deceased rest in peace and may hatred and conflicts be resolved with love. Moreover, they traveled around the world spreading the seed of love and peace, and through the process, it not only makes the world a better place, but also makes Tai Chi Men deeds better people. However, this excellent group that benefits individuals and the world has been persecuted by national violence for many, many years, preventing them from exerting their full strength. Therefore, in the International Month of Peace and Love, we hereby call on the Taiwan government to resolve Tai Chi Men Fo's case. This is not only demonstrates justice, but also promotes world love and peace. Okay, this is a great forum. Today's forum ends here. Thanks for joining us. See you.